He thought they cared. He thought if he gave more, stayed loyal, stayed quiet when it hurt, that somehow they'd see his worth. That maybe if he was useful enough, if he stayed available, if he bent without breaking, they'd choose him, appreciate him, stay. But they didn't. They only came when they needed something. They only called when they were drowning. They only remembered his name when they ran out of people to use. And still he stayed. Because that's what kind men do. They show up, they give even when they're empty. They say I'm fine even when their whole world is falling apart. But no one asks, what about you? No one sees the silent suffering, because the world doesn't see value in what's freely given. And that's where the lesson begins. You will never be loved for how much you tolerate. Read that again. You will never be respected for how much disrespect you endure. You will never be remembered for the times you stayed quiet to keep the peace. You will never be valued for being easy to use, because people don't respect what's always available. They respect boundaries. They respect men who walk away. They respect those who say, enough. He was that boy once. The one who'd give everything and expect nothing. The one who believed that being kind meant being selfless to the point of self-destruction. But the truth is, kindness without strength is a trap. It turns lions into sheep. It turns warriors into doormats. It turns kings into clowns, dancing for love they'll never receive. So he learned, not in a classroom, not from a book, but through pain. He learned when the people he helped the most were the first to disappear. He learned when his phone stayed silent during his darkest nights. He learned when he hit rock bottom and none of the hands he held were there to hold his. He learned the hard way that the more you bleed for others, the less they think your blood is sacred. He stopped answering every call. He stopped rushing to fix what others kept breaking. He stopped watering relationships that only grew when he suffered. And most importantly, he stopped explaining himself. Because the people who truly care don't need an explanation. And the ones who don't never deserved one to begin with. Don't let them use you, not just in love, but in friendships, in family, at work, in life. Don't let them drain your energy just because you don't like saying no. Don't let them turn your heart into a trash can for their problems. Don't let them silence your voice so theirs can be louder. Don't let them convince you that love means sacrifice without limits. Because if someone only values you when you're useful, they never valued you. They only valued the benefit of having you. You owe it to yourself to stop playing the role of the silent sufferer. Listen closely. There comes a point in a man's life where he must choose, either continue being used and drained, or draw a line and demand respect. That point is where you reclaim your power, and it doesn't happen loudly. It doesn't require a fight. It's not a big announcement. It happens when you stop chasing them. It happens when you let the silence speak. It happens when your absence is louder than your presence ever was. Let them feel what life is like without your support. Let them sit in the chaos you used to fix. Let them deal with their demons without your hands holding the sword. And if they never come back, let that be your peace. Because what you lost was not love, it was dependency. It was manipulation disguised as care. You were not born to be someone's emotional crutch. You were not created to be half-loved. You are not a backup plan. You are not a therapist for someone who never listens when you speak. You are not a shoulder for people who never stand behind you. You are a man, a builder, a protector, a creator. And your energy, time, and loyalty, they are currency. Stop giving them away like charity. Start investing them where they grow, where they're returned, where they're honored. Because when you finally walk away and they realize what they lost, it's too late. You see, they never loved you. They loved your effort. They loved your availability. They loved your comfort. But they never saw your soul. And if someone can't see your soul, they don't deserve your presence. The most dangerous man is not the one who fights everyone. It's the one who walks away and never looks back. Because when he finally chooses himself, there's no going back to the life where he was used like a tool, silenced like a child, and tolerated like a burden. This speech isn't just a message. It's a mirror. Ask yourself, who am I giving to that never gives back? Who drains me and calls it love? Who only loves the light I shine but disappears when I'm in the dark? Let this be the day you draw your line. Not with anger, not with hate, but with clarity. You don't have to yell. You don't need revenge. You don't need to explain your worth to anyone who made you feel worthless. You just need to choose yourself, silently, permanently. And when they come back, because they will, don't let the old you open the door. Don't forget the nights you cried alone. Don't forget how heavy it felt to always be strong for others. Don't forget the silence when you needed noise. Don't forget how they made you feel replaceable. Forgive, but don't return. Heal, but don't reopen old wounds. Learn, but don't repeat the same mistakes. This is your time, not to please, not to fix, not to save, but to become. To rebuild the parts of you they took, to reclaim the self-worth they ignored, to rediscover the voice you silenced, to rise not for revenge, but for rebirth. So if you're listening to this is your wake-up call. You've spent too long being used, too long being silent, too long giving without receiving, too long loving people who only took. Now it's your turn, to protect your peace, to guard your energy, to love yourself louder than they ever did. Because at the end of the day, it's not about who left. It's about who you became after they did. Don't let them use you. Not anymore. Not ever again.